Ladies and gentlemen, in the world of Japanese anime, power is often celebrated as freedom, destiny, or greatness. Characters awaken hidden abilities, transform their limits, and rise above the ordinary. But Attack on Titan takes a darker path. In this story, power is not always a gift. Sometimes, power is a curse. And no character represents that truth more clearly than Levi Ackerman. The origin of the Ackerman power is one of the darkest and most misunderstood elements in Attack on Titan, because it challenges the very idea of what strength means. Unlike Titan shifters, whose power comes from transformation, or soldiers who grow strong through training and experience, the Ackerman power is inherited, engineered, and deeply unnatural. It was never meant to create heroes. It was created to create protectors, living weapons designed to serve, survive, and eliminate threats without hesitation. The Ackerman Clan was the result of experiments meant to produce humans with the strength of Titans while remaining in human form. This means their bodies and minds are fundamentally different from normal people. When an Ackerman's power awakens, it is not simply muscle strength increasing. It is a complete synchronization of instinct, memory, and physical ability. Their bodies access combat knowledge as if it has already been lived, as if countless battles are embedded into their blood. This is why Levi can move with impossible speed, react without thinking, and fight with precision that looks almost unreal. He is not just skilled, he is optimized. What makes this power so different from every other strength in the series is that it does not come with freedom. Most characters in Attack on Titan struggle for freedom, believing power will help them achieve it. The Ackerman power does the opposite. It binds its wielder to a purpose they never consciously chose. Once awakened, the Ackerman instinct drives them toward protecting a specific person or fulfilling a role tied to survival and loyalty. This creates a terrifying paradox. The stronger the Ackerman becomes, the less freedom they actually have. Levi's power awakens in a world where survival is everything. The underground city is brutal, unforgiving, and lawless. In that environment, hesitation means death. When Levi's Ackerman instinct activates, it does exactly what it was designed to do: it keeps him alive. His body learns to fight before his mind fully understands why. His reactions become automatic. His movements become precise. This power allows him to rise out of the underground, but it also permanently alters how he experiences the world. Unlike other forms of power in the series, the Ackerman strength does not evolve through choice. Levi does not decide to grow stronger. He simply becomes stronger because the situation demands it. This makes his power feel less like personal growth and more like a system activating when conditions are met. That lack of agency is what turns the Ackerman gift into a curse. Levi's strength is not an expression of his dreams or ambitions, it is a response to danger encoded into his blood. Another key difference is that the Ackerman power never turns off. Titan shifters can revert to human form. Soldiers can rest. Levi cannot escape what he is. His body is always ready, always alert, always prepared to fight. This constant readiness isolates him from normal emotional experiences. Relaxation, joy, and vulnerability become foreign concepts. His strength keeps him alive, but it also keeps him distant. The Ackerman power also separates Levi from the people around him. He fights on a level that no one else can match, which makes him both admired and feared. Others see him as humanity's strongest soldier, but they rarely see him as human. This is another cost of the power's origin. It elevates him physically while isolating him emotionally. The origin of the Ackerman power explains why Levi's strength feels heavy rather than heroic. It is not the power of choice, freedom, or ambition. It is the power of survival forced into human form. Levi is strong not because he wanted to be, but because the world demanded it. And that is what makes his strength different from every other power in Attack on Titan. It was never meant to save him, only to use him. The psychological cost of the Ackerman power is where Levi Ackerman's true tragedy becomes visible, because this strength does not simply change what he can do, it changes how he thinks, feels, and connects to the world. While most characters in Attack on Titan struggle with fear, doubt, and hesitation, Levi's mind operates under a different set of rules. His power conditions him for clarity and chaos, but that clarity comes at the expense of emotional freedom. From the moment an Ackerman's power awakens, their instincts begin to override ordinary emotional responses. In situations where others panic, Levi becomes calm. Where others hesitate, he moves. This is often praised as discipline or professionalism, but the reality is far darker. Levi's emotional reactions have been trained out of him by both his environment and his bloodline. The Ackerman instinct prioritizes survival and mission success over personal feeling, and over time, this creates emotional distance that is nearly impossible to undo. This psychological conditioning explains why Levi rarely shows fear, even in situations that should terrify him. Fear, for Levi, is processed as information rather than emotion. He recognizes danger instantly, assesses it, and acts. This makes him incredibly effective in battle, but it also means he does not experience fear in a way that allows emotional release. Fear is meant to protect the mind by forcing caution and expression. Levi's fear has no outlet, it becomes tension stored deep inside him. The same is true for grief. Levi experiences more loss than most characters, yet he rarely cries, screams, or collapses under the weight of it. This does not mean he feels less, it means he feels too much and has learned that expression is dangerous. The Ackerman power reinforces this pattern. Emotional restraint keeps him focused, functional, and alive. Over time, restraint becomes habit, and habit becomes identity. Levi does not suppress emotion consciously, suppression is now automatic. One of the most painful effects of this conditioning is how it shapes Levi's relationships. He cares deeply for his comrades, but he never allows himself emotional closeness that would make loss unbearable. The Ackerman instinct subtly encourages attachment with limits. It allows loyalty but discourages vulnerability. This is why Levi can lead others, protect them, and fight for them, yet remain emotionally distant. His mind is built for responsibility, not comfort. This also explains why Levi often appears harsh or cold in moments of emotional intensity. When others break down, he pushes forward. When emotions threaten to overwhelm a situation, he shuts them down. This behavior is not cruelty, it is survival logic. Levi understands that emotional hesitation can get people killed. His psychology has been shaped by a world where hesitation equals death, and the Ackerman power ensures that lesson is never forgotten. Another psychological burden of the Ackerman power is the constant sense of alertness. Levi's mind is always scanning, always preparing for the worst. This hyper-awareness is useful in combat, but exhausting in everyday life. Peace never feels permanent to him. Even in quiet moments, his mind remains tense, waiting for the next disaster. This makes relaxation nearly impossible and contributes to his inability to smile or enjoy calm without suspicion. There is also an element of identity loss. Levi is often defined by his strength rather than his humanity. Over time, he internalizes this perception. He begins to see himself not as a person with desires and dreams, but as a weapon with a function. The Ackerman power reinforces this self-image. When your instincts are designed to fight, protect, and endure, it becomes difficult to imagine a life beyond those roles. Ultimately, the psychological cost of the Ackerman power is isolation. Levi survives, but he does so alone inside his own mind. His clarity in chaos, his emotional restraint, and his unbreakable focus are all products of a system that values efficiency over happiness. His strength allows him to protect others, but it prevents him from protecting himself emotionally. And that is the cruel balance of the Ackerman curse, power that saves the body while slowly distancing the heart. The burden of loyalty tied to the Ackerman clan is one of the most complex and tragic aspects of Levi Ackerman's power, because this loyalty is not purely a choice, it is deeply intertwined with instinct, survival, and identity. Unlike ordinary loyalty, which grows gradually through trust and shared experience, the Ackerman bond is immediate, intense, and absolute once it forms. This makes Levi's devotion both his greatest strength and his heaviest burden. When an Ackerman chooses someone to follow, that connection becomes central to their existence. It is not blind obedience, but it is unshakable commitment. For Levi, loyalty is not expressed through words or emotional displays, it is expressed through action, sacrifice, and endurance. He stays standing when others fall. He continues the mission when hope disappears. This is the Ackerman instinct at work. Once a purpose is chosen, abandoning it becomes psychologically unthinkable. This kind of loyalty gives Levi clarity in a chaotic world. While others struggle with doubt, conflicting motivations, or moral paralysis, Levi moves forward with certainty. His loyalty provides him with direction and meaning in a world that constantly strips those things away. In a sense, it anchors him. Without it, Levi might be forced to confront the emptiness left by loss and trauma. Loyalty becomes a stabilizing force, keeping him focused and functional. However, this same loyalty limits Levi's emotional freedom. Once he commits, he cannot easily step back and reassess without inner conflict. The Ackerman instinct resists detachment. It pushes him to continue even when the cost becomes unbearable. Levi often carries responsibility that should not belong to one person, because his loyalty will not allow him to walk away. He accepts suffering as part of his duty, even when it slowly erodes him. This burden is especially visible in moments where Levi must make impossible choices. His loyalty does not protect him from guilt, it amplifies it. When comrades die, he does not see their deaths as unavoidable consequences of war, he sees them as personal failures. Loyalty transforms every loss into a question of responsibility. Could he have acted faster? Chosen differently? Done more? These questions linger because his commitment is total. Another tragic aspect of Ackerman loyalty is how it isolates Levi from others emotionally. Because his devotion is absolute, he rarely allows himself emotional dependence on anyone outside that bond. He keeps distance, not out of arrogance, but out of caution. Attachment increases vulnerability, and vulnerability threatens his ability to fulfill his role. This creates a quiet loneliness. Levi stands among others, yet remains emotionally apart, carrying obligations few truly understand. This loyalty also shapes Levi's moral code. He does not operate on ideals or grand visions of the future. Instead, his sense of right and wrong is grounded in protecting those he has committed to and honoring the sacrifices already made. This makes him pragmatic, sometimes brutally so. He is willing to make hard decisions because loyalty demands results, not comfort. His actions are guided by responsibility rather than hope. Over time, this constant devotion takes a psychological toll. Levi rarely allows himself rest, forgiveness, or emotional release. Loyalty keeps him moving forward, but it also traps him in a cycle of duty without closure. There is always another mission, another sacrifice, another reason to endure. The Ackerman bond does not fade with time, it deepens, making the weight heavier with every loss. Levi's loyalty is both a gift and a curse. It gives him purpose in a world defined by chaos and death, but it also ensures that he carries the emotional cost alone. His strength is not just in his combat ability, but in his willingness to bear responsibility without complaint. And that is the quiet tragedy of the Ackerman clan. Their loyalty gives them meaning, but it demands everything in return. The true curse of the Ackerman clan is not their strength, speed, or combat dominance, it is the psychological weight that comes with power that was never freely chosen. Levi Ackerman's power is inherited, awakened, and imposed upon him by blood rather than desire. This makes his strength feel less like a gift and more like an obligation he can never escape. From the moment his abilities awaken, Levi's life is no longer entirely his own. Ackerman power strips away the luxury of normal weakness. Levi cannot afford hesitation, fear, or emotional collapse in the same way others can. His body and mind are wired to respond, to fight, and to survive even when the soul is exhausted. This creates a brutal disconnect between what he feels and what he is capable of expressing. Even when he is broken inside, his body continues to move forward. This forced resilience is part of the curse. He does not get to stop, even when stopping might be the most human response. This power also creates an unfair standard. Because Levi is strong, others expect him to endure more, sacrifice more, and carry more responsibility. His strength becomes justification for placing impossible burdens on his shoulders. Losses that would devastate others are silently assigned to him as part of the job. Over time, this expectation dehumanizes him. He is seen less as a person and more as a weapon, reliable, deadly, and expendable. Another painful aspect of the Ackerman curse is the loss of choice. Levi's instincts often override his emotions. In moments of crisis, he reacts with perfect efficiency, even if that reaction costs him something emotionally. This means he sometimes survives situations not because he wanted to, but because his body refused to let him die. Survival without agency can be haunting. Living when others fall creates survivor's guilt that never fully fades. Levi's power also isolates him morally. He often understands truths others cannot accept yet. He sees the cost of war clearly and without illusion. Because of this clarity, he makes decisions that look cruel or heartless on the surface. But these decisions come from a place of grim realism, not malice. The curse is that he must live with the consequences of these choices alone. Others move on. Levi remembers. There is also a deep exhaustion tied to being constantly prepared. Levi's power does not allow emotional relaxation. Even in moments of calm, he remains alert. Peace feels temporary. Safety feels fragile. This constant readiness erodes his ability to enjoy life's quiet moments. His body may rest, but his mind never truly does. The Ackerman instinct does not shut off, it only waits. What makes this curse especially tragic is that Levi never sought greatness. He did not dream of being the strongest or the deadliest. He simply wanted to survive. But the Ackerman power transformed survival into responsibility. Once he realized what he could do, walking away was no longer an option. His strength meant others would depend on him, and Levi could never ignore that dependence. Despite all this, Levi does not resent his power. He accepts it. This acceptance is not peace, it is endurance. He carries the curse without complaint because complaining would change nothing. His strength becomes a promise to the dead, a shield for the living, and a prison for himself. Levi Ackerman's power is not about dominance or victory. It is about sacrifice without recognition, survival without comfort, and strength without freedom. The curse of the Ackerman clan is that their power keeps them standing long after their hearts are tired, and Levi stands anyway. Levi Ackerman's story is not just the tale of an unstoppable warrior, but the quiet tragedy of a man born into power he never asked for and responsibility he could never escape. His strength, inherited through the Ackerman bloodline, did not grant him freedom, it took it away. Every battle he survives, every enemy he defeats, and every comrade he outlives deepens the weight he carries. The curse of the Ackerman clan is not about overwhelming power, it is about being strong enough to endure pain that would break anyone else, again and again, without ever being allowed to rest. Levi's life teaches us that true strength is not always heroic or glorious. Sometimes, it is lonely, exhausting, and unfair. His emotional restraint, his seriousness, and his lack of visible joy are not signs of emptiness, but evidence of a man who has given everything to a world that keeps demanding more. He continues to fight not because he believes in happy endings, but because stopping would betray those who can no longer stand beside him. In the world of Attack on Titan, Levi Ackerman shows us that power can be a curse, survival can feel like punishment, and heroism does not always come with a smile, and the strongest warriors are often the ones who carry their pain in silence and keep moving forward anyway.